Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Yo, this is special that I'm gonna give y'all today. This is y'all must share this with the females you know and the males you know of all ages so that they can see how the effects of what we do affects the people that we love and protect and justify why we're doing what we're doing. I say that because I justified selling drugs towards taking care of my family and my children and my lovely daughter and so on and so on. And then I get locked up for 26 years. And now my daughter's gonna tell you, share with you how she felt growing up from she was 7 years old until she was 34 years old without her father. She has a YouTube channel. Go check it out. It's over there at Unique Mecca Audio. I think you're going to enjoy this. Make sure you sit back, enjoy the ride, and share this video. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm gonna play this joint. This is real deep. I didn't even know this. I haven't even been looking at my daughter's YouTube channel. You know, I helped to get it started, and we started rolling from there, right? But I haven't even looked at her channel. But I took a time this morning to look at her channel, and I figured I want to share this video with you because I learned how much I affected my daughter from my choices. My reaction to my actions harmed the very people that I justified doing the wrong that I was doing the wrong for. So make sure you pay attention. So if you're doing something wrong, this is what could happen to you. This is what me and Juanita Mecca Audio is trying to prevent you from going through. Sit back and enjoy the ride. All right?
If you've been following my stories, you already know my father's Unique Mecca Audio. He was locked up for 26 years. It was actually supposed to be life. And by the grace of God, he was able to come home. And he's been home now for a few years. And I've been able to have some time with my pops. Let me say this, though. It's definitely not how I always envisioned it would be in my grow up and in my prayers within my young time. But I will say this. I am blessed and I'm happy that my children get to enjoy what I never got to enjoy. My son is 7 years old. My daughter's 12. You feel me? They love their grandfather wholeheartedly. And just to know that he's there for them the way he is and they loving him the way he deserves to be loved. He gets to feel that. And even though he lost that time on doing it with me and his other children, I'm glad he got a chance to do it with them. And I don't regret anything that happened. And yes, it's very sad. And I just wasn't supposed to grow up with a father in my household and in my.
Could you believe that she's accepting that? See, that's the first pain that I felt in my heart because every child should feel they have the right to grow up with a father in the household. My baby's sitting here saying that it wasn't meant to be. No, it wasn't meant to be because of my choices. So your children could grow up without you from your choices. So you really need to pay attention to this video.
My life all day, every day. You understand me? And I understand, and it is what it is. But by all of that, when my father first left, that was my first abandonment. I had so much abandonment issues. It's crazy, okay? So much. And it's like, once he left, I did not know my place within myself and within my family because he's the only one that I felt like actually understood me. We was both a little wild and crazy. And it's like me being home, my mom, she worked a lot. She was more so on my sister. She was the youngest. And my brother seemed like he got the most respect. And me, I just got the, damn, you did that again, Nene? What you doing? You always got to do something. Why you took... I got that type of the end of the stick. I don't know if any other middle child got in that as well, but that definitely did something to me. And I was never allowed to cry. God forbid I cried. So it was like I always had to be on her. So I learned how to since I wasn't allowed to show my tears, I learned how to show put my tears into pain, as in I'm gonna make everybody else pain, and I'm mean on it. Like that's how I'm moving, and that's how I'm coming, not thinking and not caring about my next movement or who is gonna affect or anything. As long
See, right there, she said it all. See, watched her father that was lost. So now she's lost following a lost father. A father's supposed to further one's education. So now she's sitting here saying that she wasn't allowed to cry. I take full responsibility for that. Let me ride. You know, I'm a gangster. I can't stop it. You know, I'm an ex-gangster, whatever you want to call it. Oh, he still calling himself a gangster. You still call the president, the president. President Lincoln. President George Washington. And they was the ex-presidents. So I'm a gangster. I got to own up to that. I got to claim that. So my way of upbringing was just being a gangster. So I never wanted to take my daughter with me when I went out on the streets because I didn't want her to be subject to that lifestyle of a male. And I was so twisted that I thought that I was raising my sons to be men when I was really raising them to be gangsters. So maybe it was meant to be for me to be incarcerated and sit down and find myself so I could come back home and teach my lovely grandchildren. Y'all pay attention to this because this is deep. My daughter says that she wasn't allowed to cry. That's because when she went out with me and her brothers was with me, she had two brothers and she was the female, and they was both older than her. It was like 7, 8, 9. So I got my 8 and 9-year-old son with me, and if they fall down, I tell them, get up, boy, you ain't supposed to cry. So if my daughter fall down, that's all I know how to do. So I told my daughter, you ain't supposed to cry, keep that in, but I didn't stay home long enough to explain to them that when you don't cry, you keep that energy that you have and use it towards your motivation like fuel to get to your next step in life. Don't let your tears hinder you and have you in quicksand standing there licking your own wounds. Use it for your fuel, but don't let your enemy see you cry. So there's a lot of things I didn't finish getting to teach them, but by the grace of God, I'm here to be able to teach them now. I hope y'all are watching this, and make sure you share this and subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio. She's really opening up right here, and I didn't even know this. This video, she did this before, and I'm just seeing it now. All right, so sit back and enjoy the ride.
as I'm winning, that's all I was seeing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you. So by me speaking on what I'm gonna speak on, you could look at me how you want to look at me. Hopefully, I end up helping others that been through what I've been through, because I'm telling you right now, instead of everybody calling me crazy, saying what's wrong with her, saying, oh, she only acting like this because she doesn't have her father around, blase, blase. That's crazy. Because at the end of the day, y'all really should have been hugging me, sitting me down, really trying to get to know me and see what's wrong, because I was missing my father, yes, but I also, because I was missing him and he was the one that was loving me and kissing me, ain't nobody hugging and kissing me here. I don't get I love yous. I don't get none of that as I'm growing up. You understand what I'm
And you know what's sad? How she says that I was hugging and kissing and loving on her. I did that because she was my princess. But as far as my little princess, I didn't give them no hugs and all of that because I didn't get that growing up because I was lost. But I know now, being 61 years old, yes, 61, that a child needs that. And I'm still a little twisted. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm still a little twisted because the way I was raised is that when you have a child that the father don't come into that child's life for child development until the male child is 7 and the female child is 6. because they're not going to remember nothing before that anyway. But I guess, the child smells the aura and knows that's daddy, so that's why you're supposed to be around the child when they're at those early stages that they're not going to remember because the rest is spiritual. But I'm learning this. But she said, like I've been home 5 years. I never spent no time with my grandson because he was 3, 4, 5 years old when I came home. So he's too young for me to spend any time with. He ain't gonna remember nothing anyway. But I remember from I was 7 years old, and that's the age that I started spending time with my grandson, and he loves me to death. My granddaughter, I spend time with her. I said, let me ride. I sent my granddaughter a YouTube video. It was only 10 minutes that was dealing with the history of slavery, and they summed it up in 10 minutes. And I told my granddaughter, because she's 13, watch this video and write an essay about this. My granddaughter blew my mind how she interpreted that video. So now what I do is I continuously send her videos. She liked to write, so I let her respond back and give me an essay, But I don't know what I'm doing as a grandfather. I didn't know what I was doing as a father. Just like a lot of y'all don't know. There was no blueprint to this for our parents. That's why we can't hate our parents for the mistakes they made. Because if that's the case, then our children will hate us for the mistakes we made. We just have to learn to do better. Go ahead, Nene.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't in my household. I don't fault my mother for that at all. That's just what it was, and that's just how it is. But because of that, I looked for it everywhere else and within men. You understand? And when I say men, I mean people older than me, because I'm looking for that type of security, that type of father figure, that type of love that I really felt like I was lacking at my own home.
And you know what's sad about that? I remember when I was in prison and she first told me she had a boyfriend. I think she was like 16 and she said he was 32. You know what that did to me? A 16-year-old princess with a 32-year-old grown man. That crushed me. But I couldn't respond from emotion. I had to now respond from a logical point of view as not only a father, but as a man, and know that if I chastised her for talking to an older man, she'll never tell me anything else. So I had to suck it up and listen to her telling me about this older man that she's looking up to as her father image that's really just a predator. I don't want your daughters in the situation that my choices left my daughter. And that's why we do these videos, so you could really understand what's going on. All right?
Own house. You understand? I always felt like I was looked down on and nobody really understood me. So because of that, I had to be mean. I had to. I had no choice, it felt like. That's me protecting myself because I don't see any of you protecting me in that manner. You feel me? So it made me get out on the streets, and I started putting my trust in the wrong people. Okay? And when I say the wrong people, I'm talking about people that never even deserved any part of me. Any part, because I was too loyal, because I seen the loyalty that my mother was giving my father, so I knew it existed, not just within a relationship with a man, but within a relationship as a friendship. So I trusted and gave so much to people that I believed at that time was my friends, and it was so many red flags I should have paid attention to, but I was so afraid of losing that little piece of love that I had for them, regardless if they had it for me back respectfully. You know what I mean?
And that's deep that she said that, right? Because one thing I learned in life from running the streets is that you could love somebody with all your heart, but that don't mean they gotta love you back or they're gonna love you back. That's why me, myself, and call me selfish, I don't give a crap who loves me. I just love loving them. And that's my joy. Me showing love to them. And it's crazy because this world has come to a time where everyone uses everybody. And I don't have a problem being used. Just don't misuse me. You know what I mean? Don't misuse me. And that's what this is all about. It's about the choices that I made that trickled down to affect my daughter. For me spending 26 and a half years in federal prison from my choices that I claim responsibility for. And she went to prison herself. You're going to hear her talk about that at the end of this. I might play that. Because she followed in my footsteps. See how she looked just like me, sound like me. Everything is just like me. When I first looked at this child, I said, oh my God, she got a rough life ahead of her. Because I knew my karma was going to come back to haunt her because she's the splitting the image. It's like, you know, like as we say back in the days, I spit her out. And then when I heard that she went to prison, my baby, for my choices, for me abandoning her, after I took my mother and father's divorce as abandonment, and then now I'm in prison where at least I could still go see my father because he was free. She couldn't see her father unless her mother brought her. That's how you want to raise your children? So don't say, oh, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this because we got to eat. What you going to do when they lock that ass up for 26 years? Who's going to take care of the babies and the family then? If anybody got any questions about this, man, I'm going to put my number up real quick, right? But remember to subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel. That's how it's spelled, Juanita Mecca Audio. All right? Now, my number's on the screen because I know a lot of people is in this situation, and this video is not for views. I don't care if it get 100 views as long as it catch one person to prevent them from leaving their baby behind like I did mine.
So I allowed a lot of bull in my life, and because of that, I got burnt and snaked so hard, and the type of betrayal and disloyalty that I endured from so-called friends, so-called family, so-called boyfriends, it changed me to a point where I don't think I had any good left in me. You know what I mean? So the last straw was the last dude I was dealing with when he ran me through the mud. I'm talking about I was there for him wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Anything he wanted, he needed dough. I ain't had it. Trust and believe me, I was about to go get that thing. I was getting it. Don't worry about how I was getting it. I was getting it. You feel me? I had no problem doing it because I knew that's what you needed. You wanted me to drive you to go do your little drops or whatever. Yeah, I'm there. I'm doing that. Straight like that for you. Why? Because you mine. You feel me? All that did not bother me, did not care. And no matter what and how much I did for this person, they still hit me with the ooh, broke the heart, God. The heart was broke. I ain't know what to do with that type of betrayal because I have not let anybody in years. Okay, at this time, I'm 22. I haven't let anybody in years get into my heart. And when I did before, I promised I wouldn't even let that happen again. And unfortunately, for me, I did. You know what I mean?
See, I had it on mute. I didn't realize it, so I apologize for that. What I was saying is that you see how my daughter spoke on, you know, her man don't having it. She makes sure, best believe she go get it, and you know, if he need to ride to make a drop, when she's putting her life in danger and her freedom in danger to wind up in prison or getting robbed or possibly unalived with him if they decide to rob him, and she's thinking that this is the norm from watching her father's behavior. Our children are watching us whether we know they're watching us or not. Let me give you a ride. I remember we sitting down in the Mecca, right? It was me, my man Ed, DL, and Shaw, right? and Mandu. So we sitting down and I'm laid back. I'm drinking a Heineken, and one of them is telling the story, and I'm leaned back, and you know how we do. You know, I grab my sack, right, and I'm just holding my sack, and I'm chilling, listening. You know, just my hand laying there, ain't doing nothing. But you know how we do as men. You know, just to know that yeah, that's mine, right. And my son, my man, dude looked over at me and nudged his head. Right? Man, dude was a kid then too. He said, and he looked over, and my son was sitting there with his hand over his sack with his arm laid back, just like I'm laid back on the couch, mimicking my behavior, my movements. And that was a sign then I should have picked up on. But I just nodded at him and, you know, I felt it was good and it was cool. And I said, all right. And they finished the story. But that's when you have bad parenting. And I was a bad parent. I'm trying to do better as a grandparent.
I mean, I want y'all to understand something. You have to be able to communicate what you feel with at least one person. It gotta be one person you could talk to. I knew about God, but I didn't really understand God. So I didn't have no faith in that. You feel me? And everything I was going through at that time, I promise you in my mind, because I didn't really have that understanding of Jesus, I'm on it like, God don't love me. God ain't here for me because he wouldn't be having me go through all this I'm going through, all this pain that's happening. Like, I literally had to start self-medicating myself. It went from, you know, us getting our little 40s. Remember back in the day, what was the Mad Dog 2020s, that little crack juice, the Four Loco. Oh my God, I can't even believe I was drinking that, guy. The Four Loco, you know what I mean? We all, the Cisco, the Hypnotic. I used to get drunk like a mug, but I was never big on drinking, but I was doing it just to slow down all the pain I was feeling without me trying to feel it for real, for real. And just to move and have some fun because I didn't want to have any of them thoughts of everything that's going on and how I've been being played and everything. I feel like I'm missing all the just the loneliness at the end of the day that I was feeling. I was so lonely. Like I literally started not staying home by the time I was 15. Okay? I left school when I was 15. I got my GED, yeah. But like, come on, yeah. I made myself grow up too early. I put myself in places I didn't need to be just to cope. And it's messed up because with all that, I had people that I trusted so hard, God. I'm trying to tell you. I asked a family member, my cousin, I was like, yo, I need a cigarette, whatever. You around, you give me a cigarette. They said, nah, I'm not around, but you could go to, you know, so and so's house over here on this block. All right, I go to old girl's house. Don't even know who she is, but he said that he was going to let her know that, you know, give me a pack of cigarettes. He's going to pay it back later or whatever. I go there thinking there's nothing, like I was just going to go pick up that pack and that was it. Lord, was I mistaken. When I tell you, I walk in, right? You know, black girl, she looked at she looked like she was my cousin's age, which is, you know, at least 15 older than me. So I walked in. I said, hey, what's going on? Yeah, my cousin said, you got this for me? Oh, yeah, yeah, it's right here. I started chopping it up with her. And in the midst of it all, I'm not even realizing until I got older, like, I know my cousin ain't really have me come get no cigarettes from old girl and she move and do what she do like this. He knew what he was doing. Because now you just pit me in a whole different type of world to be learning a whole bunch of other dumb stuff I don't need to be learning. Being around people I don't need to be being around. I was 15, 16, getting in the bars with these people. These people letting me ride with them, getting in these places. They know how old I am. Motherfucking pedophiles, excuse me, pedophiles. And I didn't even see it like that at that time. You understand? Riding with all them, bars, chopping it up, playing cards, listening to all the dang thing. They acting like I'm so mature. You rocking with a little young ass girl. I barely got the GED. What you want to do with me? Couldn't even see it back then. Saw that as like respect, love. Oh, they looking at me like they understand. They was all fake and phony. How dare my cousin even pick me in that environment? Like as I got older, when I say I disliked the fact that I did not have the type of family, and forgive me for saying not all my family members was there for me in a sort of protecting me away from things that they knew I shouldn't be around, because they already knew I was already different than everybody else. So why are you even trying to test me and pick me there like that? Stop it. I'm talking about I'm taking GD classes. I got my cousin picking me and my peoples up in the GD class, driving us to go pick up Bud after, cutting to go pick up Bud, smoking it with me. Like, you older, guy. You older. Why you even sitting here doing this with me? Tell me something like I shouldn't be doing it. Put me on. Let me know. It was so easy for me to be bad. It was so easy for me to stay outside. As long as I was calling my mother every other day, even if it was every night, whatever, she spoke to me. So she knew I was like, I did not have to be home. That's crazy. It's crazy. Because I like I said, if I would have had a little more, I wouldn't even had probably been out there as much as I was. Like, I'm talking about, we was outside picking dudes up. Like, I had my shorties that, you know, I was always the little tougher one or whatever. So I had my little shorties, you know, they rocked hard. We always, you know, follow suit. Now, when it came to money, it always seemed like we was on the same page, me and my bitches, right? So I used to always have a shorty or two that was real close to me or whatever. And we used to, you know, tell men that we was gonna, you know, we gonna chill, we gonna meet you here, da da da. At the end of the day, we robbing motherfuckers. It's just that easy and that simple. That's it and that's all.
You see that? She's talking about robbing another human being back in her juvenile years while I was locked up in 80X Supermax for 5 years, Lewisburg, Long Park, I mean, Atwater, Victorville, Lee County, Coleman, Florida. I'm all over the country and my baby is going through all this trauma from my choices. Is this what you want for your children? Put it in the comments and don't be afraid to say it. How many of you is doing the same things that my daughter is sharing with you now? Hanging out with, you know, your sibling, your family, your friend that you know is underage and you smoking bud with them. You taking them to get bud. You take them to get the bud, but say, "Oh, I can't smoke it with you, cause that's not right." But yeah, you're gonna get it for them to smoke it. I can't drink with you, but I'm gonna go buy you this, you know, this bottle of, you know, Patron, Casamigo, Henny. How many of y'all bought Henny this weekend? You know, or recently for someone that you knew was underage? How many of you even gave them something to drink? And this is where we have to start taking accountability for our shortcomings. All right, what we doing? We riding.
It's like, who's you gonna tell? You feel me? So it's like I had so much lack of trust because I was betrayed and stirred in so many different directions as I was growing up, even within my family. My brain was so twisted. I wasn't getting the help, the love, or anything that I felt like I needed, honestly. And it's not to say my mom didn't try, but like, how much could she do? And it's like, she didn't really understand. I wasn't crazy and I wasn't bugging out. I really just wanted to be loved. I wanted a hug, God. I wanted a hug. I wanted somebody to tell me they love me, and don't tell me they love me just because I done messed up today and you want me to open up to you. No, tell me every day you love me. Tell me
All right, let me give you a hug, baby. I love you. All right, I love you and I'm sorry.
every day something good about me instead of always telling me all the bad things that I did or whatever happened. You feel me?
And you know, it's funny she said that, right? I'm gonna take you on a good ride. I'm gonna take you on that, right? Her mother, right? A matter of fact, I'm gonna let this play, then I'm gonna take you on the ride because she speaks on when she went off in school, get ready to come up. And then I'm gonna speak on how I handled it after she shared how her mother handled it because I was in prison where I don't want y'all at. I want you out here to be hands on with your children like I should have been.
Even when I was in school, I was suspended. I was tired of being suspended.
Right
I really
here.
was like, all right, boom, I'm gonna come good this time, right? Ain't about nothing. I'm gonna come straight. Eh. Yo, I promise you, soon as I went and I told, what was her name? I ain't even gonna say her name. I think her name was Miss Hartos. Not even to be funny, but I think her name was Miss Hartos. Soon as I told her that, oh, can I get the work so I could make up for it? You know what she said to me? It's not like you gonna do it anyway. You as a teacher, how dare you? You turned me down. Like I'm telling you, the schools didn't even accept me. Like they didn't even want me to do good. So once she said that, my mind seemed red. Like how dare you disrespect me? And I felt embarrassed. Like bitch, what you thought I couldn't do the work? So the first thing I could say once that red cleared up in my face, bitch, suck my. You understand me? D-I-C. Yeah, suck it.
I wonder where she got that mouth from. Is that a nasty mouth?
He looked at me like, excuse me. I said, yeah, if I pull it out, you gonna do that, right? Now, mind you, I'm from Jersey. We talk like that. I know I ain't got that thing, but if I pull something else, you gonna put that in there. Know that. You gonna hold that. Okay? So she said that. I remember she went to the door. I seen that she was running to the principal's office. This girl, Amanda, she gonna go run by the door too. Amanda, respect. I remember you using my peoples. She was like, nah, I need to chill, chill, chill. I was like, nah, that bitch. I wasn't gonna touch her. I was just mad that she was so adamant about belittling me and go run down to the principal, go spread some lies about me like they always did. So I went running down the opposite side of the stairwell. Doop, 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 doop. I'm gonna get there first. I know they ain't gonna believe me, but I'm just gonna show you I can get to the office first. What happened? Okay. Now they suspended me indefinitely at that point, and I couldn't come back until they had a conference with my mother. My mother came in. She spoke to them. It was an interesting little story. She didn't like what they said and how they, try to play me either. But when she heard what I said, suck my, she popped me in my mouth so hard, man. I was so hot. Because why you give this white man exactly what he wanted? You know how many times I'm sure they all want to pop me because I was running that like that? You just gave them what they wanted. I was 50 hot. 50 hot. You heard me? I couldn't believe it. Thinking about that now, it make me mad because my mom always was riding with me in front of people and like behind doors. That's when she gonna let me know I was wrong. But that one time, I must have shocked her that I even said that because she couldn't hold it in. She just said, it was like nothing. She had.
See, right there what she said, because that's what I was able to teach her mother before I was incarcerated, that I will do a lot of things you don't like. Not may. I will do a lot of things you don't like. You will do a lot of things I don't like. But we're not gonna let no one see us argue in public. When we get behind closed doors, you could cuss me out. You could do anything you want. You can even hit me. Just don't hit me in my face. You know, because mom said never let a woman put a hand near your face because you only got one set of eyes and they can't replace them. But life was really screwed up, and I don't want your life screwed up. If y'all heading in the direction that me and my daughter was in, and what she's describing, you let me know. I'm getting ready to let you know how I handled this situation with my daughter with this school situation that she's dealing with. What we doing? We riding.
No thought. The man just looking like he ain't trying to call police nothing. He ain't like now where they so quick with the knives and everything. He just looking like, yeah, you deserve that, girl. So I just started like angry crying because I knew I couldn't touch her, but I ain't want him to see me. So I was like, and I just walked out. We walked across the street. She talking. I ain't trying to hear none of that. You remember back in the day, it was like you step on the crack, break your mama's back. I'm trying to every crack like. I was mad. Whew. Ended up being suspended for a week. Now at this point, I'm like, damn, there ain't even no point to make nothing up. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when that situation happened, right? Y'all tell me if I was right or wrong. Put it in the comments. I can take a chastisement. I can take what we call on the street a check it, right? When I called home, her mother was so mad. She was screaming in the phone, and I just sat there listening. I pulled it away from my ear. I looked at the phone and I said, hold on. You know, I heard your side and I put my daughter on the phone. So my daughter got on the phone and I asked my daughter what happened, and she told me that, the situation. and that she was just trying to do the work, so she asked to make up the work. She wanted to get her life straight because the conversation that we had, she realized that school was important, and she went to the teacher and told the teacher to give her the homework, and the teacher disrespected in front of the whole class and say, ain't like you gonna do it anyway, you faking, and of course she got heated. So I said, well, what did the teacher say to you? And she said, the teacher screamed back at me, that. And I said, okay, well, first of all, Ron, you don't think you could have handled it a little differently? That's the first thing I asked her. You don't think I always ask my baby this. That's why me and her so close today. I said, you don't think you could have handled that a little differently? And she said, yeah. I said, well, how could you have handled it differently? You know? She said, I could have just shut the F up. I said, you got it, So being that you got the answer, let me say this, right? Being that you chose to handle it in the manner that you handle it in, I want you to understand something, right? That we have to use that inner voice to tell us how to deal with what's happening now, and we have to use it right there and then. Now, I tell her, put your mother on the phone. Her mother got on the phone, and her mother's still heated, and I said, calm down, baby. I heard what she said, and I heard what you said, but I want you to understand that we get our daughter dressed and ready to go to school every day to learn from a teacher that went to school to learn how to teach our baby. So if this teacher went to school to learn how to teach, so even though my daughter is different or difficult, you know, she's still a child, and that's still a teacher. So the child could never do anything wrong. It's the teacher that has to know how to communicate and teach the child from their educational upbringing. Put it in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong. But I never blame my daughter for anything. I always let my daughter check herself by asking her that one question. Do you think you could have done it a little differently? Or how would you have done that a little differently? Let's finish riding.
Long story short, I ended up transferring schools. Now, as soon as I transferred schools, I think I got I got in a fight the first week. Some girl thought her man, or I was messing with her man. I don't even know your man, girl. I wasn't even here longer than 4 days. 4 days.
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I tried so hard, even when I tried to do right, it was like the odds was always set against me.
Mm.
And it just started being easier not caring. You know what I mean? So once that person that I put my all into did what they did to me, I ended up, getting a little messed up one day. Cause back then I used to pop eat pills and stuff, you know what I mean? I have fun, and then also when I was like really depressed, because I was depressed like all my life, I promise you. I used to take perks. So like, I take a little stick, bow. Then I'm like smoking a half of a blunt out for like 4 hours straight. Perfect. I ain't thinking stress about nothing, phone off. I ain't gotta hear nobody gotta hear me. I was good.
Now, how would you feel as a father or even a mother hearing your daughter telling you that they was taking perks and smoking a half a joint to pass out? Put that in the comments. This is my first time hearing this. I'm just trying to hold my emotions, and I definitely can't be judgmental, because then she would never speak on it again.
And it's like I started realizing, damn, this nigga got me tripping. So I was like, all right, boom, this is what I'm gonna do. I knew this man that I met not too maybe like I may probably knew him for like 2 weeks. We was chilling. He was even like teaching me how to drive his little stick car and everything. We was cool. I don't know. Something about him just seemed like easy. So eventually, and he started pissing me off too. And it's like as I said, I just didn't really care at that point. Long story short, I ended up doing whatever I did. I caught a charge. And Lord, I never, ever thought I would be where the hell my father was. But yes, I caught a charge and my ass went to prison. Woo! Let me tell you something. It's like, it's crazy because I literally always said, I won't ever do what my father did the way he did me. But I ended up there. And it's like, damn, do I need to like go all the way there to feel that close to this man? Sad. But in reality, it's like I had to be put in prison for me to sit down. The things I was doing, how I was moving, the non-thought process that I had, thinking I was invincible, I had to. I had no choice. And I understand that now. That's the only way God knew I was going to sit down and really pay attention. I fought that case for 2 years. 2 years. I didn't even know you could fight it that long. I fought it for 2 years because I turned down freaking 3 offers. Like, no, my bad. I turned down 2 offers. I took the 3rd one. But like, was y'all crazy? I don't want to do that. And it's my first charge ever they had. And because it was a violent charge, it was conspiracy to commit armed robbery. They had the audacity not to even give me like a drug program, like, you know, like most of these mugs get for them 5 years. They wouldn't even give me that first offender thing. I couldn't get nothing. Like, dead ass. They gave me, we're going to get to that. We ain't going to keep talking about that right now. We're going to put that to the end, and we're going to get to that next story. You already know. But please pay attention, take heed. Get somebody to talk to. Don't hold everything in. Don't move without a care. Be there for people that you think that's bugging out and they ain't got no reason to be a rebel. Understand there's something going on. They hurting. And they masking their hurt with their strength. It's easier to do it that way. So don't think just because you're saying, oh, how you doing? They, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm straight. They smiling. Yo, I mask that perfectly. You will never know when I'm down because I'm always, you understand? You be like, damn, she got the God in her like a mug. Do. You understand me? All the time. Oh, how you doing? Blessed, not stressed. And I promise you, sometimes I be like, inside, but I'm not going to let that be out because I already know. But all I went through and all God got me through, this ain't nothing. You got to go through them storms. I got to. If I ain't go, and if I ain't go through all that past stuff that I went through, all that pain, that trauma, that abuse, if I didn't go through all that, I would never have been able to be strong to be able to serve the time that I served in prison.
All right. Make sure you check out my daughter's YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio, man. Check out my daughter's YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. You already know we like to ride. And I'm going to put my phone number again so you can see the number if you need to call, if you're having issues, want to deal with the situation of, you know, what we going through. Just, you know, hit me up. All right?
Cheers, toast the crime. Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. Did not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Moving like Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spin a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.